You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rodrans for Black and White Sports. We're going to talk about this MLB All-Star Game as Rob Manfred, the Players Union, the MLB may be facing having to pay out of pocket for moving the All-Star Game. Earlier this year, they moved it, of course, because of the false narrative of racism and voter suppression involving a Georgia voting law. Well, they cost the city, a predominantly black city in Atlanta, by the way, over $100 million. Well, because they did that, there is now a group that is going to try to hold the MLB and the Players Union's feet to the fire. Now, I've said I find it very interesting that, simply put, we haven't heard a lot from the players on this. We haven't. Okay, the players were supposedly outraged over the fact that Georgia created this quote-unquote voter suppression law, or that's what Tony Clark, the executive director of the MLBPA, was saying. All right, it just so happens he votes left. Okay, let's just be real. He votes left, and it seems like he went to Rob Manfred because of his own voting beliefs. Okay, and his own political partisans. He went to Rob Manfred and said, "Hey, the players are outraged." Are they? Where are they? Where are all the players talking about this? Well, there has been a conservative group that has come out there, and they are filing a lawsuit against the MLB to hold their feet to the fire. MLB Players Union facing all-star lawsuit for pulling game out of Atlanta. Job Creators Network will demand the MLB return the game or pay immediate damages. A conservative group representing small businesses that says MLB's decision to move the All-Star Game out of Atlanta is proof Commissioner Rob Manfred has, quote, no balls, is now ready to throw another brushback pitch. With more than 30 partners ranging from the Nevada Chamber of Commerce to the National Restaurant Association, the Job Creators Network says the baseball's decision to boycott Atlanta over its objection to the Georgia's voting law is wrong and is now taking MLB to court. Fox Business has learned that the right-leaning trade group founded by Home Depot co-founder Bernie Marcus plans to file a lawsuit in Manhattan federal court Tuesday morning alleging that the MLB's decision has injured Atlanta's small business community. Also to be named in the lawsuit, according to a person with direct knowledge of the matter, is Major League Baseball Players Association, the union which represents some 1,200 players, and which the Job Creators Network contends played a role in the decision to move the game out of Atlanta to Denver. I mean, think about this, guys. Atlanta is predominantly, it's a largely black-owned business community that is going to be hurt by this. Black employees, and they were worried about racism. They move it out and move it into a predominantly white area. That's what happens when you make partisan business decisions. When you make business decisions, when you go woke, you go broke. Alfredo Ortiz, president of the Jobs Creators Network, has mounted a high-profile campaign against baseball's decision with protests in front of Major League Baseball's headquarters in Manhattan and billboards in Times Square that mocked MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred as having, quote, all strikes and no balls, for caving into left-wing pressure groups that have denounced the state's new voter law is overly restrictive to minority and poor voters. What's amazing is if you read the law, there is no way you can construe that law to have any negative impact on a minority whatsoever. It's a complete false narrative. Conservatives and Governor Brian Kemp of Georgia have argued that the law simply requires voters to produce a proper ID and ensures the integrity of mail-in voting. That's exactly 100% correct. Quote, MLB robbed the small businesses of Atlanta, many of them minority-owned, of $100 million. We want the game back where it belongs, Ortiz told Fox Business. This was a knee-jerk, hypocritical, and illegal reaction to misinformation about Georgia's new voting law, which includes voter ID. And look, Joe Biden is largely responsible for this. He came out spreading that false narrative. Joe Biden didn't know what he was talking about. I mean, he either read the law and didn't know how to interpret it. Hell, nobody on the left seems to know how to interpret the law in the manner that it really is written. I mean, it's ridiculous. Ortiz, who is a board member of the Georgia Chamber of Commerce, noted that when it comes to identification, Major League Baseball itself requests an ID at will call ticket windows at Yankee Stadium in New York, Busch Stadium in St. Louis, and at all ballparks across the country. Spokesmen for the MLB and the Players Association had no comment. Quote, this action is not a surprise given the real damage that has been done, says Ken Blackwell, former Cincinnati mayor as well as Ohio Secretary of State, but maybe most notable, he is a minority owner of the Cincinnati Reds baseball team. The lawsuit will demand the MLB immediately moves the game back to Atlanta or pay damages to small businesses impacted by the decision. The co-founder of Home Depot is involved in this lawsuit. This was a complete false narrative. It was completely made up. This was driven by leftists, not only the president, Joe Biden, but Stacey Abrams, who runs 3 or 4 voter influencing groups of her own that has been, look, the Secretary of State of Georgia has investigated her and some of the things that she might have been involved with involving voting in Georgia. Okay, she came out and said, I never influenced Rob Manfred. She was full of shit. Her and Rob Manfred and Joe Biden all had a discussion, and that game was moved out of Georgia. And now they hurt a predominantly minority-owned community and moved the game to a predominantly white community. It was a complete backfire. But does this surprise any of us? I mean, they're making real decisions. This is what happens when you make real decisions around social justice mobs. They're not looking at the facts. They're not looking at anything. There's nothing involving voter suppression in that law whatsoever. But you cost Atlanta's community $100 million. Now, this group is going to want to come out. They're going to try to get that money back, or you better move the game back. It's good to see at least somebody is trying to hold the MLB accountable for their actions. And yeah, look, there's a lot of preparation. There's a lot of cost to these businesses getting ready for an event that large that is going to attract that much people into the area, and they're out that money now. It's absolutely unacceptable. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.